The Dolby Small Shack.
No blocks.
The Dolby Small Shack.
No blocks.
Allah is watching from the sky for every deed inside. He's deciding everybody's fate and place, and don't you know, you're in paradise today. Hey, running fun in paradise, where everybody's young again. On the city, on earth there once was pity in Jannah. Constant state of peace today. Hey! Day of judgment, a bridge over hell. Little Brock didn't believe in Allah and he fell. Be good, Allah loves you. You protect us for you.
Morning, Year 11. Welcome to one of our final lessons on this Muslim beliefs unit that we've been looking at. And this one is on a nice, cheery topic of life after death. What happens when we die? And you can see here there's quite a few key words that we're going to have to learn and be able to recognise in the exam. So let's crack on and figure out what it is that we've got to do. So Muslims believe, the majority of Muslims believe, I should say, that when you die, there will be a day of judgment. Now, when that day of judgment is another question. It might well be the day that you die, as in straight away, or it might be that you wait for an actual day of judgment when everyone will be judged on the same day. But the idea is that on this day of judgment, there will be a bridge that you should have to travel across to get to heaven. And this bridge is called Barzakh. And underneath this bridge is hell. Now, the whole time through your life, if you recall, when we were talking about angels, you've had an angel on each shoulder recording your good deeds and your bad deeds. Now, you need to imagine that your good deeds are weightless, they don't weigh anything, but your bad deeds, every single thing that's written down weighs you down. And so when people travel across this bridge, it's not an easy journey if you've done bad things. And in fact, those people who have done too many bad things, they can't manage to get across the bridge and they topple down into hell. And so for the majority of Muslims, this is how Muslims get to heaven or to hell, the actual journey on Judgment Day. It's not like Christianity, where there's somebody there at the gate saying, welcome, oh yeah, you've done lots of good, you can come to heaven, you can come to hell. For them, it's already been recorded on those pieces of paper on their shoulders. So as we've established, the majority of Muslims believe in both a heaven and a hell, and this will have some implications on how they live their lives. So as I explain this to you, if you could finish these sentence starters and finish the sentence, that would be brilliant. So first of all, Muslims have a clear list in the Quran of things that are right and things that are wrong, and they're clearly going to avoid doing the things that Allah says are wrong because they want to go to heaven, and doing the bad things is going to record that bad deed. It's going to make the journey to heaven much more challenging, and they're much more likely to go to hell. Muslims also believe that God created the world, so Muslims are going to treat the world really well. We talked about stewardship when we were looking at Christianity, and it's the same here. They're going to look after it, and in doing so, that's going to be a good deed because God is going to want them to look after his world that he created. It's worth noting that the angels on your shoulders, they write down the good deeds and the bad deeds, but they also write down the good thoughts and the bad thoughts. So if I have a thought about kicking year 7s in the face, my angel's going to write that down. But if I choose not to kick year 7s in the face, that's going to get written down as a good deed, because even though I've thought about doing something bad, I've not done the bad thing, I've done the good thing instead. So just bear in mind that thinking bad stuff is also going to get jotted down, but not weighed as heavily potentially as doing bad stuff. So make sure you've got these 3 sentences written up in your books. Pause the video if you need to. Okay, so a quick task here. I played to you, hopefully at the start of the lesson, if you heard it, a song about heaven. Now your task is going to be to choose either heaven or hell, or both. And you are going to create a little song. I'm not going to make you sing it at any point, so don't worry. Your little song needs to include keywords and key facts, evidence from the Quran, and any different opinions that different Muslims have about heaven or hell. Now, you'll find this information on the sheet that I sent to you. If you haven't got that, let me know and I will find one that I can send to you. Just spend maybe, 10-15 minutes coming up with a song. So pause it here. If you desperately don't want to do a song, you could just summarise it all in your books. That will be absolutely fine. But make sure you've got these things: keywords, key facts, Quran evidence, and different opinions. Pause the video here and go and do that. 10-15 minutes. Okay, moving on from heaven and hell slightly, I'm wondering if you can recognise who this man is. Probably not, and that's probably a good thing. He's given a nickname, Jihadi John, and he was in ISIS, and he was responsible for the beheadings and executions, unfortunately, of lots of victims. And he got this nickname because he argued that the reason that he was doing what he was doing, killing all these people, all these Westerners, was because of jihad. And so we are going to spend a bit of time discussing what jihad actually is and why this man is an utter idiot. So, some Muslims read the Quran and they believe that it says in there that you need to stand up for your faith. You need to stand up for Islam. And in doing so, if that causes you to die, you will get martyrdom. Now, martyrdom is the idea that you've died to protect something, and these Muslims might believe that sends you straight to heaven. All of the gates of heaven will be open for you and you can just whiz straight in there. Now, this term jihad, it literally means struggle. So there are two types of jihad: personal jihad, which is greater jihad, and when you are struggling with other people, and that's called lesser jihad. So I'll give you an example. When we went to the mosque a couple of years ago with year 10 and 11, before you were year 10 and 11, the gentleman in there was explaining jihad to the students, and he said lesser jihad is having to fight against people who are saying nasty things about your religion. So if you're walking down the street and somebody says, "Oi, Muslim, you're a terrorist," and you have to stand up against what they've said, that would be lesser jihad. Personal jihad for him is that he really, really, really likes the smell of bacon sandwiches. But as part of his belief in Islam, he can't eat bacon because they can't eat pork, and therefore he finds that a real struggle, a personal struggle. So the personal thing is of more importance. Making sure that you are living as a good Muslim, struggling against things that are challenging to you, living that life, that is more important. That's why it's called greater jihad. So when these people like Jihadi John and members of ISIS are claiming that they are doing something for jihad, they're only ever doing it for lesser jihad if they are doing it for jihad. I hope that makes sense, because I would argue they're not. So, as it says there, violent extremists have used jihad to justify terrorism in order to create a place where Islam rules. But this is why I don't think that it's jihad. In the Quran, it tells Muslims they are not to force Islam onto anyone. That people should move to Islam if they're going to willingly. You can't force it on people, which is what extremists like Jihadi John were doing. It also says that killing yourself or killing any innocent person is wrong. It says in the Quran that if you kill a person, an innocent person, it's as if you have killed 1,000 people. So very clearly, doing things like a suicide mission where innocent people die, that is wrong. So it can't be part of jihad. It can't be part of Islam indeed. So I'm going to pause, well, you're going to pause the video here. Just make sure that these bullet points you've got jotted down under the subtitle Jihad, or Martyrdom and Jihad. Okay? Very last thing for today then. I want us to think about the role of Jesus in all of this. So we've talked about the idea of heaven and hell. We've talked about the fact that this jihad and martyrdom and dying for the struggle of Islam and for standing up for Islam and things might lead you to judgment quicker and lead you to heaven quicker. But the final thing I'd like us to think about is, what is the role of Jesus in all of this? Now, when we talked about the prophets, we did say that Jesus had a role, in the end times. But there is a podcast here for you to listen to. Now, granted, it is longer than this lesson is, so you might need to listen to it as part of Monday's lesson as well. It's about half an hour long, and in it, the guy talks about what the role of Isa is going to be in end times, but also Imam al-Mahdi, which, if you remember, was the Imam who Sunni Muslims believe will return and Shia Muslims believe is hidden. And they both have a role that involves Judgment Day and the end of time when all of this is coming about. So I would like you to listen to the podcast and to jot down some information that answers those two questions. That is it for this week. Don't need to hand me anything in. You need to look after yourselves, and I will see you guys on Monday. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.